If you use mediumship abilities, you struggle to use mediumship abilities, or you don't think you're a medium, this is going to be a great episode for you, because I'm going to talk about a block that is rarely discussed, very common, and super easy to shift, that is going to help open up your intuitive channel when it comes to mediumship. And I'm going to do that through interpretive dance. I'm just kidding. I'm going to do that through sharing with you the story of the time that I did a mass spiritual clearing on an old insane asylum. So, buckle up. Welcome back to the channel. It's good to have you. If you're returning, welcome back, friend. If you're brand new, you've landed on an interesting channel. Every week, my goal is to give you an aha moment or a tool or a tip when it comes to developing your intuition. It is so important, in my opinion, for people to develop their intuition and use it in their day-to-day lives, because it is a game changer. And some of us, it's a spiritual awakening that happens. It's like, okay, I'm in it now. And for anyone that's on a spiritual path, intuitive path, spiritual awakening, if this resonates with you, consider subscribing, and you've landed in a good spot. Today, we're going to talk about mediumship. We're going to talk about a block that's super easy to remove. It's actually so easy to remove. You might not even know you have it. You'll understand it by the end of this episode, that by the time we're done, the perspective shift will be there. Block will be gone. Mediumship will increase. It's a wonderful thing. And I'm going to do this. First, you know what? Let's talk about what the block is. And then let's get into the story, because the story is going to help with the perspective shift. Now, the block that isn't talked about a lot, like I said, but is very, very common, is the pop culture reaction that we have when we talk about ghosts. I'll start with this. What do you feel or think about when I say the word ghost? And now, what do you feel or think about when I say the word spirit? Do you see how one of those is, you instantly think about a person, maybe a loved one on the other side, and the other one, you think about scary stuff? It's really wild, isn't it? And it's so subtle that we don't even know we're doing it. And here's what happened. Here's the lowdown. When we were growing up, we had years of pop culture feeding us all this spooky stuff around hauntings, ghosts, paranormal, et cetera, et cetera. Now, no one's to blame here. You can't sell a movie if you don't have the spooky factor in there. I get it. Absolutely. But when it comes to spirituality and when it comes to mediumship, we sometimes have a little bit of a wall that goes up when we hear the term ghost, or we hear the term haunting, or even when we're just tapping in. Many times people will say, oh, I'm scared of what I'm going to see. And there's a reason you're scared of what you're going to see. It's because pop culture has taught you that most likely what you're going to see is going to scare you. So this is where the separation between spirit and ghost has happened. Spirit, we've been able to retain this concept of, oh, that's a person. That's a person who has died and who's transitioning through the in-between and crossing over to the other side. Ghost, however, has been, that human factor has been lost. We've done a little bit of dehumanizing with that. We don't think of a person right away. And this causes us to be scared that if we tap in, we might see a ghost. But if we say it this way, that if you tap in, you might see a loving grandmother come through, then it's not as scary, right? These are the terms that bounce around. When I went to this clearing, when I was done with it, I walked away thinking one thing, that ghosts are people too. And that sentence has been close to my heart ever since, so close to my heart that I'll be probably using it as the title of my second book. And I've already written it down. But ghosts are people too is, in a nutshell, the block. It's the aha moment of, oh yeah, okay. It allows us to release the fear around it, to say, oh, am I looking through the lens that pop culture gave me? Or am I looking through the lens of what I know is really in the spiritual world? Now, I know that there's always going to be things that are scary. You know, it's a small percent. You might see something that pops in, or you might, see a spirit who is a negative person. It's not like the minute somebody passes, Everybody's super nice through their transition. If they weren't nice in life, they're not going to be nice through their transition either. They're still going to be the same person. This is how I explain it. When we're here on earth, we have three bodies. We've got the physical body, the programming body, which is our mind on linear time, and our spiritual body. And the first thing that happens when we die is we let go of the physical body. This leaves us going through our crossing over transition with our spiritual body. Makes sense. That's the spirit going back home, but also our programming body, which is who we were here on earth. So when you see a spirit that is still in the process of transitioning, has not yet crossed over, you're seeing the exact same person that was here on earth. They just don't have a body. But what happens with this is that some people weren't so nice. And so if you run into a spirit that's not so nice, pop culture has said that's a ghost and to be scared of it. Now, with all that said, that really in essence is the block. It's the perspective. We may have some wiring in there that says, if I tap in as a medium, I'm going to see something scary. This is where you have to ask yourself, what's scary? Are you afraid you're going to see a ghost? Are you scared of ghosts? Why are you scared of ghosts? And I was scared of ghosts. Absolutely. I didn't open up till I was 31 years old. I was scared of what I was going to see. I was really scared of what I was going to see. But once we get past that, once we move past that and go, okay, when I sit down with mediumship and I tap in, I'm connecting with a person. I'm connecting with another person. That eliminates the pop culture fear that was set in place. Now, let me tell you the story, and it's going to kind of line up, and you'll see little hints of what pop culture has done over the years. When I started doing clearings, this was like 15 years ago that this happened. It was so long ago. But I was doing clearings, and my guide came through and said, I need you to do a clearing in New York. And I'm not going to say the name of the place. You can figure this place out pretty quickly because they're still in business. And it was an old, insane asylum in New York. And somebody had bought it, and they were selling tickets to ghost hunting teams. So ghost hunting teams could come in and stay through the night and collect evidence. Couple side notes here. I have nothing against ghost hunting teams. I think they're fantastic. I think it's cool. Go do it. I was on one for a while. No harm, no foul. If you're on a ghost hunting team, please clear any spirits you come across at the end of the night. Please just help them out. So I couldn't go to this place as a medium because it stated, we do not want you clearing this place. So I can't just buy one ticket for myself and show up and be like, hey, I'm a medium. I'm going to come here and clear your business, because that would be seen as me ruining their business. Spoiler alert, that's not how it works. There's a couple pop culture things I'll tell you about there. So instead, because I was on a ghost hunting team, the team said, you know what, Bo, we'll come with you. And then it's a ghost hunting team. If you're listening to this on the podcast, those were air quotes that came up when I said ghost hunting team. So we all went down there. There was 4 of us. We went down there together, and we bought tickets, and we brought our gear in, and it was my job to clear it. This place was staged, and it had the effect, which makes sense. It was dark, it was dingy, it was dirty. It felt like a scary elementary school. I know that sounds silly, but like, imagine walking into an old abandoned elementary school, and you can kind of picture the layout. And it just felt really, really unnerving. It was really uncomfortable. And this was my first introduction to paid haunted locations. So I didn't really have an opinion yet. You better believe I'm going to have one. But I didn't have an opinion yet. And the first thing they do is they take you on a tour. So we go on this tour. It's like 7:00 at night or something like this. I don't even remember what time they start. And I think it was the owner, I'm not quite sure, but the woman who was giving us the tour was explaining to us that they have different rooms that they have created to comfort the ghosts that are there. They have room designed for the older generations, like a grandmother's living room kind of feel, to help some of the older spirits feel comfortable here. They had a room designed as a Christmas tree with toys all over the place, and that was to help the ghost children feel comfortable here. And I'm listening to this and I'm getting a little uncomfortable with this concept, but okay, keep going. And then they have a one room that they have set up in a church-like structure with pews to make ghosts feel comfortable. You know, maybe they were connected to their church, and then that room would make them feel at home. Then she went on to say that the owner, or not that, yeah, it was the owner. So I don't know if this was the owner or not. Sorry, my memory's a little faded on this part. But the part my memory is not faded on is when she said, we have a medium on staff whose job it is to contain these spirits in this building and not let them go. And whew, I instantly shifted from listening to a ghost story to being angry, because I had done enough clearings to this point where I know very well that what goes bump in the night is a person that needs help. Yes, they're in spiritual form, but it's a person that is either confused or needs to process through something and needs help. Never have I come across a spirit that has said, hey, you know what? I want to be stuck in this one building and sit in an older person's rocking chair and watch a TV that doesn't work. Like it really enraged me. And the leader of the ghost hunting team, he knew me very well. I'm a little fiery, and he knew that that wasn't going to sit well. And I started to lean forward to say something about that. Like, how could you have a medium on staff whose job it is to hold back people from their crossing over process? That seems cruel. And I was about to say that, and I leaned forward, and the leader of the ghost hunting team that I was on was right behind me, and he knew me well. He grabbed the back of my shirt and tugged. And then he leaned forward and he was like, don't say anything. You don't. And I'm like, you're right. You're right. I won't be able to do what I'm supposed to do, which is clear this building. That's it. I got it. All right. You're right. So I went to the bathroom. I said, excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom. Because inside I'm like, I can't contain how I feel. So I'm just going to walk away from this situation and then I'm going to come back. They had mentioned that at one point they got in the tour also, she said one point, a couple of younger girls had come and gotten tickets and visited, and she found out that they left fruit offerings for the spirits in order to try to help them. And then that really made her mad. So now here I am in this location where somebody is selling tickets and doing spiritual work to contain spirits so they do not cross over. And they even set up fake rooms to have them, I don't know, feel more comfortable. Awesome prison tactic. Love it. So this is where I thought, this is a human zoo. This is a spirit zoo. You're literally, okay, I got to move on because obviously how I felt about this is bubbling up. So let's keep going with the story. So, okay, we get done. We're now ready to go. We're going to go through the building. We're going to clear. And there's, I don't know, like 50 rooms. And I decide that I'm going to go to one end of the building and I'm going to start there. And I'm just going to make my way to the other end. And I'm going to go into each room and see what I can do. Now, every clearing's different. And I have full intent on just working with my guides to say, hey, how do you want me to do this? So me and another team member, the two of us, walk down the hallway. This place was so uncomfortable that the hallway is like 8 feet wide, but we were walking like shoulder to shoulder. we had done clearings. We've been in haunted locations all the time, but this place was heavy. It was really heavy. And I want to throw in there too that the person that did the tour, when they brought us to the gift shop, because there's a gift shop, they said, oh, and here's a book on the people that died here, and that's the spirits that are in this building. And in that moment when she said that spirits that are written about historically in this book are the ones that are in this building, I had a male spirit appear and say, no, we're not the same people that died here. So that's another thing to consider. And that'll come in later when we talk about haunted locations in general. Now, go to the end of the building. And I say to my guide in the first room, I'm like, how do you want me to do this? Any advice would be helpful. He said, fill the room up with water, have it wash down. And when it washes away, the spirits will cross over. So the water intent is to calm, soothe the energy of the vibration of the spirit, which is a person, and that will help them in crossing over. And so I did this room by room. And meanwhile, the team member that's with me did video of this whole thing. So this whole thing's on video. And I started to notice that every couple of rooms, there would be one, maybe two, usually one spirit that instead of crossing over as a result of paying attention to them and putting high vibrating energy into the room, which helped them transition because they're people, every now and then one of them would not cross over, but instead go to the other end of the building. And I said to my guide, what should I do about that? I know that they didn't cross over. They went that way. And my guide said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It'll all come together in the end. I said, okay. So we keep doing this room by room. And over the course of all of these rooms down this long hallway, probably 15 spirits total did not cross over. And we get to the end of the building. And that's where that church setup was. All the pews. And in front was a pulpit. And on there was a book. And me and this team member are standing at the very end, like kind of the back of the staged church area. And I said, oh, there's a book on the table. That's interesting. And then I start to see it. I start to see all 15 of the spirits. 15 is a general number. I don't remember how many there were, but 10 to 15 of them. The ones that didn't cross over were congregating in a group in the corner of this church-like room. And they were all focused on each other. And I felt like love emanating from this group. And I said that to my teammate. I was like, they're all over there, kind of huddled together. I can feel love amongst them all. And now I can see that they're dissipating. I can see that they're all crossing over. It's like they're crossing over together. And then I don't remember what came through that got me to pick this up, but I said, and they're all Jewish. For some reason, I knew that they were all Jewish. I could probably go back to the video and listen to what I said on the video, but I don't remember how I knew that part. And so what we had here was we had 10 to 15 Jewish spirits that all huddled together. They felt the joy together, and then they crossed over together. It was really moving. It was really moving, and my heart just felt so warm. I was so happy. And that was done. The room was empty. I didn't do a thing, but they all did it together amongst themselves, and they reconnected. And so me and my teammate walked up to the front of this staged church area, and I walked up to the stand where the book was, and it was open. And it wasn't a Bible. And I'll tell you, I thought Bible because I grew up Christian, and I don't identify as Christian today, but I grew up in that world. So the first thing you think of is what you grew up with as a kid. So I thought that would be a Bible, but it wasn't. I walked up to it and it was open, and it was a book on traditions, different traditions and what they did with the death process and crossing over process. And it was opened to Jewish traditions in death. And I cried a little bit. I think my teammate did a little bit too. We could review the video on that one as well. But it was really moving. It was really moving. And this whole process, I don't know, it hit my heart so deeply that somebody would want to hold someone back from their transition. So a couple questions come up with this process. How can a living medium hold a spirit back? When we are here on earth, we have all three of those bodies that I mentioned, and a spirit only has two. Again, another reason why movies would be very boring, which is people who are here in the material world have more control over the material world and over space and time than a spirit that is no longer linked into the material world. Meaning, if a spirit comes into your home, you don't want the spirit in your home, get out, you have more strength in the spirit. And this is why the movies would be really boring, because it would be like, the house is haunted, and one living person goes, okay, everybody that's not for our highest good, get out. And then they do. And then the movie's over. See? It's very boring. So when a person, physical body, here, living, has strong enough intent to affect somebody who's going through the transition process, they can do that. Now, if the transition process itself in death is automatic and beautiful, it is like a people mover. The minute a spirit releases from the physical body, it's instantaneous, it's quick, it's automatic, it's this beautiful pull. You've heard so many near-death experiences talk about it just drew me toward this beautiful light. That is actually the case. On an occasion, a spirit is going to struggle with the transition process, may experience some sort of fear. And it's not that they get stuck, it's that they hesitate. And when they hesitate and they're in this location, and you have a person who's in living physical body, has all three of their bodies, and has really strong abilities and strong intent, they can hold them back. And not all the time, but in this case, it was working. And it was really disappointing, really disappointing. So that was the clearing. There was a couple other things that happened as well, but I can share those in different ones. This one, I want to talk about the reality of, here's this building, and you have all of these ghost teams coming in to pick up evidence. Again, really kind of cool. But even ghost hunting is so centered around spooky and scary and dark, and there's no human aspect of ghost hunting. That's kind of been thrown out the window. But yet, listening to this story, it takes these ghosts that are advertised as ghosts, advertised as scary, advertised as spooky, not advertised as people. And it reminds us that these are people. Ghosts are people too. These are people that genuinely didn't want to be in this building. These are people that really wanted to transition and cross over and go home, but they were stuck. And that group at the end that were able to come together and cross over together as a result of connection, tears. It was just tears. So where does this leave us when it comes to people selling tickets for haunted locations? Does it mean that asylum is now empty and, she's not selling tickets anymore? No, she's still selling tickets. And there are, and always will be, spirits who pause in the in-between and would like to haunt something, would like to scare someone, would like to make you feel spooky. And in that case, have at it. Here's a building. They're all here thinking that they're seeing this one guy from, back in the time that the asylum was open, and you can just pretend to be that guy, and you can just scare everybody if you want to, if that's part of your transition that you need to go through. The idea of holding a spirit is wrong to my core. Don't do it. However, there will always be spirits who pause on purpose, want to haunt, want to affect things negatively. And as long as there's locations that are selling tickets for it, that's a fit. So once you clear a building, that the building's purpose and the intent behind that building from the owner of the building is that it is haunted, and people can experience hauntings there. If you've got a guy that dies and is like, I'd really like to haunt someone, and they know about that house, there you go. It's a match. So once you clear a place, it most likely won't stay cleared. You can clear it, again and again. You can go clear it and say, anybody that wants to go, let's go. Anybody that doesn't, keep hanging out for a while if you want. That wouldn't be my groove. I would try to help everybody cross over, because whatever's stopping the person from wanting to cross can be worked through. And the other side is probably a far better place than an old, broken down, insane asylum. The bottom line is, ghosts are people too. And when we put that forward instead of the scary factor forward, our mediumship gets easier. we become aware of what's really happening in the crossing over process, and we're able to see more details, have deeper connections, and have more experiences. And we're able to help more people who are paused in their transition or stuck in their transition. We're able to show up for them, send them a bunch of love in any form, say, hey, you're not alone. I do see you. You're going to be okay. And 95% of the time, that'll help a spirit cross right on over. So just like you would help a lost kid standing there on the sidewalk looking for his mom, you'd help a spirit because it's a spirit, because ghosts are people too. And with that, we release our block. We tap back into mediumship again, and let me know how it goes. And I'll see you next week.
This podcast is brought to you by the SAGE Method, the most comprehensive and down-to-earth intuitive development training available. Is this your year? Is it finally your time to increase your intuition, bring in more abundance, and experience the bliss you deserve? If yes, then join thousands of students across the world for a 7-week journey to uncover your natural, beautiful, and strong intuition. Visit us at thesagemethod.com for more information.